Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock and we're on series 4. Do not know where the time has gone. And today's guest is Seleena Creeden from Apexis Engineering. And Apexis Engineering, they make it happen, which I love that as a strapline. They've been designing, manufacturing and supplying bespoke machinery and custom equipment for over 25 years. Their designs are world-class standard. Over 90% of everything Apexis Engineering designs gets made and used within factories and processing sites. So they're making machinery for the makers. Thanks for coming on, Seleena. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you in real life.
Thank you for having me, Kirsty. It's good to join your 4th series.
I know. I don't know how the time has gone.
It goes past quickly,
Oh,
doesn't
it really
these days?
does. So I had some time yesterday going through your website and stalking you on LinkedIn, and you've recently rebranded, haven't you? You're now Apexis Engineering. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. So think of Apex and is. Yeah.
Apexis Engineering. Ooh, I like
exactly.
it. Why did you rebrand? I'm nosy.
Okay, that's a fair question. So Craig and myself are 50-50 business partners. We weren't until this year. We'd kind of done like a management buyout, if you like. So Craig had been an employee here for 14 years now. And I joined as a business consultant in March 2020 to help the business with strategy, direction and marketing and commercial stuff when obviously that big C word happened and the founder went into panic mode.
Yeah, I was about to say timing.
very good timing. So it's a natural fit for me. I've spent my career in manufacturing, so it was a great client for me back in my first consultant days. So with all that history and the fact that we're not just offering design solutions, so we moved, as well as taking majority ownership of the business in 2024, we moved to an industrial unit, having only been in an office for 20 odd years. We moved to an industrial unit last year. It just came up as we were looking. We decided to move the business from Loughborough to Derby just because that's mine and Craig's home city. And we were looking around offices and I was getting a bit bored with, it's just another office, it's just another office. We just happened to say to the agent who was taking us around that, ideally, I'd get more excited, or however you want to frame it. An industrial unit would be quite exciting. So where we are now wasn't on the market, and it certainly wasn't to the standard that it is today. It had been unused for quite a long time. So, but lots of heritage, lots of rail heritage here as well. So yeah, we moved here. We changed what we're offering. We decided to stick with the plan that Craig had come up with in about 2017, 2018, which is to manufacture our designs to help with the quality and to install them. And we're surrounded by loads of different partners. So just being Bennett Engineering Design Solutions didn't work for us for 2 reasons. A, me and Craig are not Bennett. It was named after the founder. And B, we're offering more than design now. So whilst I'm not always a big fan of rebrands, I think they can sometimes hide something. In this one, I've taken great pleasure in the strategy and the planning behind it, because it's really enabled me and Craig to own the business. This is us now. This is, we're full majority owners of the business now, and it's us. It's ours. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's visually what we like. It just is us.
It's an evolution, isn't it? Really, rather than a rebrand. So it's going into the next chapter.
Yeah. This is like great heritage, so it's just building it, isn't it?
And you mentioned that your unit has rail heritage. Mm-hmm. So my factory is on the old Midland Coachwork sites.
Oh, nice.
And it's where they built the Pullman carriages for the Orient Express.
Well, that is a very good fun fact. Ours is nowhere near as nice as that. Ours had a safe door on the front of it, and it was just a place where people came to collect their payment, and it was storing all sorts of rail stuff, is what we've been told. We've got some great concertina doors, and the safe door's gone now, but yeah. It's
a nice probably have a better roof than me, though, so I wouldn't. While I was looking at your website, I was struck how how just upfront you are about things. Like, we do lots of things, but we can't tell you because we sign all these NDAs.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously what happens at Apexis stays at Apexis.
It's like Las Vegas.
Yeah, the Las Vegas in Derby.
Yeah.
But it obviously limits what you can talk about, which must be, well, on one hand, great that you're doing the work for something. But on the other hand, I'd want to go, oh, we're doing this brilliant project and I can't tell you anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hardest marketing gig I've ever had personally, and I did sort of majority of my career in marketing, but hardest marketing gig I've ever had here. But also, yeah, like you say, it's like when you get excited about something or you've solved something. When we've solved something and you're so proud of what you've solved and you see it in action and you're just there and you just, pride is the only word I can use really. It's just like you just, well, we did that. It's amazing. And knowing that you can't say a word about it is so, so tough. And even, in one-to-one conversations, let's say we weren't recording this and I was coming to talk to you about any mutual collaboration between our two businesses, I still wouldn't be able to talk to you about all that I can do. So I've got to give you that trust in who we are, and which is why I'm quite upfront about it in our marketing. Is we're really shit hot, but I can't tell you that. That's like, yeah, it's really hard to get across what we do when most of what we do I can't share. There's some stuff like you can see behind me that we can share, but they're quite old projects. They're out of NDA or they're with customers who don't mind us sharing that information or celebrating something. So it's really, really hard to try and get across what we do, but also, like you say, to share that joy
Yeah.
in
That
the
excitement,
everyday
that, oh my
life.
God, you'll never get. But I mean,
Yeah.
it is nice that you have got some things
Yeah.
on your website, and they're so different. You've got there was pallet lifters for the brick industry. There
Yeah.
was a granulate plant. I don't know
Yeah.
what a granulate plant is, but it looks like a fun machine, and I want one. When you're being approached,
Mhm.
I assume you can be approached to design and build anything
Yep.
of
We're very
of
sector
a
agnostic.
mechanical nature.
Yep. Yep.
I think it's quite interesting, and just having to keep your mouth shut. It's we've signed NDAs in the past. Obviously, I can't talk about it. But then there are other aspects. So when we had the Olympics in the UK,
Right.
I can neither confirm or deny that we did any polishing for that. But people had asked us, and I'd go, I can't say, because
Yeah.
if I do, I'm going to get hit with a bill.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I understand there's a lovely fountain sculpture somewhere down in London, and you just can't do it, can you?
No,
And
it's very hard.
we do have a mutual customer, because I saw a picture of them on one of your LinkedIn posts.
Okay.
So there's obviously no NDA there. So you mentioned your business partner, Craig, and your 50-50 partners in the
Yeah.
business. And you've worked together. He's been there about 14 years, you said.
Yeah, he's been here 14 years. I've been 5 and a bit years, nearly 6.
And what was the sort of stepping stone from you working together to doing the sort of MBO and becoming business partners? Was it quick, long, considered?
We got on straight away. So as soon as I was introduced into the business, obviously we're doing everything virtually then. So, but I'm used to virtual. Having worked in an international business before, virtual doesn't faze me. So we were doing everything virtually, and we still created a bond during that time. And then when we went back to face and started, getting to know each other, I'd say we were pretty close. By the end of 2020, we were pretty close. If someone I admired, he admired me, respected, enjoyed spending time together, got stuff done. We were able to work really well together. So I'd say by the end of 2020, we were pretty sort of tuned in to, we need to be working together long term. So Craig was a director of the business at that time, but not an owner of the business at that time. So yeah, we just as time sort of came on, I think by 2021, I'd seen the plans that Craig had developed and really bought into them. Really, you know, coming from the manufacturing industry where we had so many contractors in and out of different, you know, UK sites, overseas sites, wherever, you know, having seen contractors at work, I was kind of like, well, you know, most of the time projects do get a bit messy. Whereas I could see here projects don't get messy. They get delivered on time, in full, all that project corporate BS stuff. But truly, you know, we manage the projects exceptionally well, and you know, we're good communicators, and we are able to just deliver what's needed, whatever that might be, whether it's a machine or it's a jig or it's something to lift something or whatever it is, we're able to deliver it and have a good impact. So I think I'd kind of got excited by both the business and but also having this strong relationship with Craig, who was young, you know, he's late 30s. He was young, so there was a future together. So that plan that he'd created, I bought into straight away. So it was a case of like, well, how do we evolve this? You know, the founder of the business was ready to retire when I joined the company. So it was a case of how does it evolve? How do we move this forward? And, you know, we won some brilliant projects, which kind of meant that the team were full on designing and I was taking a step back, and it was kind of like the way business was working sort of 2022, 2023, it was a case of, oh, you know, this isn't as exciting as it could be. This is just sheer volume of work. And, you know, I was trying to keep clients happy with things when it's just massive project, and just, you know, just trying to manage things through and communicate with people. And I think we just knew that we were yin and yang. We're very yin and yang. What are Craig's strengths are not my strengths. What are my strengths are not Craig's strengths. So we just have an exceptionally good working relationship and a very deep friendship. So it just made sense to like, do you know what? Yeah, let's buy the business and see where we can take it, see what we can do, see what happens when we're in control and we're able to direct it. We're sailing our own ship now, and we work exceptionally well together.
I think there's something truly beautiful when two people just click, and you can almost see, I used the word evolution earlier, you can almost see the evolution of your skills together, far surpassing one person on their own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we're far stronger together.
I think so. But does he have any annoying habits?
Not really, not really.
Damn it!
No, he doesn't. He's very well behaved. He's very well. I told you earlier. You know, I came into the office and I knew that I was coming into the meeting room today, and the heater was switched on for me. So it's kind of like those, you know, those videos that you see on TikTok that are like, oh, you know, what I thought working with a male colleague was like. I'm kind of like truly blessed to have someone who genuinely cares about me, looks after me, and he doesn't really have. I mean, we're both chatterboxes. I suppose that could be an annoying habit, but it doesn't annoy me because I'm happy to listen to him. So I suppose to someone who isn't a chatterbox, maybe sitting listening to us two would be quite annoying, but we don't tend to annoy each other. We don't tend to wind each other up. We've never had a disagreement or a cross word where, you know, where there's been anything. I'm quite a feisty individual, and I say it as I see it. And he's never once sort of, got me to the stage where I'm angry with him or I need to address something to move us forward. He's genuinely a nice bloke, so that makes it a lot easier.
My production manager, we have a very similar relationship. And we've worked together for 36 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. So he's my work husband.
Yeah.
And he makes me cakes,
which
is great.
really nice.
Yeah.
No, Craig doesn't do that, so that's a bit annoying. I might
Yeah.
have to address that.
But in my old sports team, if we were having a home game, we would sell cakes as a fundraiser, and
Right.
he would make 2 cakes whenever I had a home game for me to take to be sliced up and sold.
That's very
So
kind.
I know, very, very nice. They are very good cakes as well. And I'm not at all self-serving in buying him recipe books for his birthday or Christmas present
Bags of
every now and
flour.
again. Yeah, that's just like, that cake looks nice. Do you want the recipe?
I love it.
um, you mentioned earlier that you had a point 22, 23, where it was, you used the phrase sheer volume of work
Mm-hmm.
rather than being exciting. So, I mean, that obviously is, you know, you were there to generate additional orders, which you did, but then you need to get them done to do it again. And it, is a bit rinse and repeat until you do something like decide to buy the business between the two of you. So how do you, particularly since you only moved, a year ago, 14 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
how do you separate the strategy from the day job?
So we have something within our building. So our building, when we came into it, it was a case of, oh, where are we going to actually do the design office? And I'd got this vision that the mez floor that was like, had got gaps in the floor and was a complete poo pit would be our design office, and it is now. So, and then there's some other little offices that we kind of knew that only one person could go in, or you could do it as a meeting room as long as everyone wasn't in there for ages. But we've got this little office that overlooks all of the trees and the buzzards and the birds and an apex of a factory opposite us. And we've got that room, and we call it our mission control room. So when Craig and I need to work on the business, we come out of our design office and we go into our mission control room. And in our mission control room, it's all set up with a board, because we work a lot, quite heavily on whiteboards. You can see one in the meeting room as well. And in the mission control room, there's everything set up. There's a TV, so we can plug a laptop in, or monitor, plug a laptop in. And it's comfy chairs, and there's a table, and there's books, and there's everything in the mission control room, including a very nice Joseph Wright painting, and another plaque that says that we're all oiling the wheels, lest they should come off. So we go in there and we really focus on business building. We really focus on, what do we need to do today to make sure the next 6 months look really good. I'm a massive advocate of 90-day plans. Massive advocate. Excuse me. And by going in the mission control room, we set the 90-day plan. We know where we're going. We've got the vision, we've got the objectives, we've got everything set out, and it gets printed out and it gets whacked up on the wall in the design office. And that guides our day-to-day activities. And we're always sense checking, where are we? What do we need to do to move forward? We don't just do that on the business, we do that on projects as well. But that's probably what you'd expect from a design, engineering, manufacturing company. You'd expect us to be doing that. But we do it on the business as well. Where are we now? We're always brutally honest about, where are we now? Where do we need to be tomorrow? Who do we need to be talking to tomorrow? We've done a lot of work on how to grow this business and how to make this a sustainable business for us and for the team that we're intending to bring in as well. So we've done a lot of work on that. And we had 2025 didn't quite live up to expectations. 2024 was a tough year when you're doing a shareholder buyout anyway. That's quite a tough thing to do, and moving a business and expanding your capabilities. Quite a lot of work in that. But I think we've always had that honesty about where we are, and that understanding about where we are, and that understanding about where we need to go. And by expanding our service offering, we've made sure that our future is really, really secure. If we had carried on just offering design, we wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be interviewing me today. We'd have not been able to survive as a business if we kept the business model as it was. So when you've had tough lessons like that, I think it makes you more in tune with making sure you're building the business, making sure you're developing the business, making sure you're honest and open and transparent, and that everything's there. we have all of the data in place. I can tell you what our conversion rate looks like, 20% lower than it normally is, for example. I can tell you what our cash flow looks like. I can tell you what our work in progress looks like. I can tell you every stage that every project's at. We have everything set up within the business. We understand our business completely. And we understand our market completely as well. You know, we take the time to go out and ensure that we understand what's happening out there in the market. And we understand our supply base completely as well. We understand our supply chain. We make sure that we're keeping in touch with our partner companies who do our manufacturing and, you know, what are the issues? What are the challenges? We've got someone who has an imperial part of their machinery. And we've kind of thought, well, it's fine. It's not a problem. But then when my manufacturing partner comes in and goes, do you know what? It's getting harder and harder to get imperial stuff into the country. Kind of listen. And you go, okay, well, I need to address this then now. I've got to take that to the customer and start talking to them. But they would only tell me that if they knew that I was, you know, I'm always interested. I need to know, I need to understand. So I think we've spent such a long time developing relationships and understanding things that I think we're in a pretty bloody good place right now. And that mission control room, we haven't put a plaque up on the door yet, but we probably should. That's
I think you should.
Invaluable. I think we should.
Definitely.
I think we should, yeah.
It's I love 90-day plans because they're not too big and clunky to maneuver.
Exactly. Yeah.
I am completely against 5-year plans. I have written 2 5-year plans.
Okay.
The first was in the autumn of 2008 and the second was in January 2020. So I have promised never ever to write another 5-year plan.
But I think for us manufacturers as well, Kirsty, is like we've had like an unbelievably odd 6 years? You know, it's been one thing after another, hasn't it? How do you do a 5-year plan in the manufacturing industry now?
Well, I mean, particularly on energy costs. We missed the really high bit at renewal and renewed about 12, 18 months after that. And I know somebody who couldn't actually get a contract cost to renew because it was changing hourly and it was just going up. And I know somebody who's at that point, I think it was the August that they renewed when it was really high. 3 years ago? And they went from spending about 200 grand a year on power to £500,000.
Wow. And how do we budget and forecast for that? You can't.
I mean, we're quite a high energy user, and when we renewed, I think relieved is the wrong word, but we renewed at only an 84% increase.
Only. Gee whiz.
Only. And it's like, really? You know, but when you know people who are renewing at 300% or something ridiculous.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
And I go to Germany fairly frequently. And the first thing I get asked, because you're normally going to an exhibition hall or a factory or something, by the driver is, how much are you paying for your power? It's like, about twice as much as you. Easily.
Oh, and all that renewable stuff, we don't do that too well yet.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You've got one of the most enthusiastic LinkedIn feeds I've ever seen. It's a delight to read it. It really is. And one of the things I also liked on your website when it was talking about you was your use of the initials GAF. What makes you different is you give I'm not sure if YouTube will let us swear, but you know, what the hell. And that really comes across from talking to you that you're just, obviously you and Craig, you're just so enthusiastic about everything. But we know we all live in challenging times. What do you do when you're not feeling enthusiastic? Where you just think, oh, sod it. another day. Something else has gone wrong, or this has
Don't
happened, or
tend
I've
to
got a
get like that. I'm always
puncture.
like, there's always a solution. I'm kind of like, there's always a way to solve this. There's always a solution. Maybe that's my annoying habit. I don't know. I try and face everything positively. And I try and always think, like, how do we get through this? We've got to move through this. You know, someone said to me recently, who knows the business well, knows me and Craig well, how are you doing today? I was like, well, I've been swimming through treacle. And he was like, well, I wouldn't have known it. You know, it's only because I asked you that question. So I try and always face life positively. That doesn't mean my LinkedIn is fake or I'm uber positive on there. What you see is what you'll get if you walk into this business. I try and always be upbeat. I try and always like be warm, friendly, all the rest of it. I think when the times are tough, and we have had some tough times,
Yeah.
what you'll probably find is I'm dog walking and I'm incommunicado. So if the times where my LinkedIn feed is quiet and I'm not posting, I'm probably going through something challenging or something that needs resolving. And because I can't do the fake social media side of stuff, I'd rather stay quiet than try and push something out that isn't really me. So yeah, you'll probably find I'll go quiet, and personally, you'll find me dog walking. The dog gets shorter legs when I'm really having to mull something over. But I find that's a space. If I give myself space to walk and just be present in nature, that gives me a lot of thinking time or switch off time. I can do either. I can either be processing or I can just be very, very present in the moment and come back feeling really refreshed. And then I'll get to grips with stuff. So I'm not saying everything's all hunky-dory all the time, but
Well, it
I
won't be,
do
will
try
it?
and... No, it's life, isn't
And
it?
I think being able to switch off is a skill that has to be developed. And you normally develop it by going through very challenging times and getting to a point where it's like, I have to switch off now,
Yeah,
otherwise,
I'm going to burn
know,
out.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
and
burn
I'm
out.
not great. I think as business owners tend to be, hamster on a wheel. We tend to be always, if I stop and the wheel stops, what's going to happen then? I think, it is hard. And this year I've really, well, probably more the last 3 months, I've really spent a lot of time thinking, how do I look after myself? How do I put myself not first, but how do I be a little bit more self-aware of the fact that I need to go and just have some downtime? How do I switch off? And I've really worked on that definitely the last 3 months, but this year I've really been focused on, if I'm not okay, it's that oxygen mask theory, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I was just about to say that. It's one trick I found way back in the 2008, 2009 recession was there was a land where I used to live. I used to pass an old dairy that was being demolished into new houses. And it was half a mile from work. And I got into the habit of, as soon as I passed that on the way home, I was like, right, that's the end of work. And I trained myself not to think about it. And the next morning, as soon as I drove back up the hill and got to the dairy, I was like, right, I can think about work now.
Switch on. Yeah,
It
that's
took a
great.
while, but it was having that physical, almost like signpost or like gates, if you like. You go out the gate and that's it, over.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
although I didn't actually look at the gates on the factory estate and use them, but there you go. You
Yeah, at least you
mentioned
found
your
a
dog.
point.
I
Sorry,
needed my own separate focal point.
yeah, I
You
like that.
mentioned your dog and you go dog walking. You
Yeah,
you bring your dog to work occasionally. There is a picture of him on LinkedIn.
yeah.
My dogs come to work with me. They have their own office. So
Oh, nice.
I know it was the material
Do they
handler's
have to work
office.
in the office? Or
They're very good at taking naps and asking for cookies. So when we got our second Labrador, basically we kicked the materials handler out of his office into the main works office, and the girls had his office.
Love it.
Sorry,
Love
Russ, he doesn't mind.
it.
So so tell me more about your dog, please.
Yeah, I
I
have a
love
working
dogs.
Labrador, so he's He's more into, our last Labrador was Rex, and he was from show stock, and he was so stupid. We used to walk around like, why do they use these for the blind people? Like, how do you train these to be a guide dog? You know, he was just so stupid. He ate everything. He was untrainable, but he was the most lovely dog ever, and he was very much my dog. Then we went through a period of time without a dog, and then we decided to go work. So we sadly lost Rex when he was just before his 9th birthday, and it felt quite harsh, you know, quite like, ooh, that's a bit young for a dog. But
Yeah.
so we left a bit of time. We had a collie as well. She carried on until she was 13, and then we left a bit of time without one. And then we bought George, who's from working stock, and he's a real mix of the collie and the Labrador that we had. So we feel like we've got 2 dogs in one with him. Uber clever, but has his challenges. You know, he's epileptic and reactive because of the epilepsy, I probably. But he's the best home dog ever. He's absolutely, you know, massive part of the family. He's very loving. He's really clever. You know, really easy to train. Apart from the reactive stuff, that takes a bit of managing. That does make life a bit different as a dog owner.
Yes.
But yeah, he's just lovely. So when he comes in here, it's few and far between, just because he's very much my dog, and the problem we've got is our toilet is so small, and if he can't get in that toilet with me, he sits crying and whinging. And it's just like, and he physically can't fit in the toilet with me unless I left the door open, and that's not okay for anyone, is it? So I have to be mindful of like, okay, how do I manage this to not have him annoy everybody? So maybe his own office would be better.
No coffee. That's it.
Oh no, that would be a disaster.
You are nil by mouth when the dog is there. It's we've got 2 Labradors, both bitches. Our Black Labrador Athena is going to be 9 in January, and she's Kennel Club bred, you know, daughter of champions and all of this, and she is possibly the laziest Labrador that ever existed. Right. She sleeps for probably 18 hours a day.
Lucky her.
As a puppy, she would lie down and refuse to carry on walking, and you'd have to pick her up and carry her home. And then our second Labrador is a rescue, right. And she's a cross. We don't know what we think possibly a Springer, which would make her a Spanador, and she is a Spanner. She is reactive to everything, and she's scared of everything.
Pretty much like George. Yeah, he can get quite scared.
Apart from fireworks, she's perfectly fine with fireworks.
Oh no, George is not. He was fine as going, and I think with an anxious dog as well, things get worse, don't they, as they get older? Yeah. And you think like, what was, you know, fireworks for him weren't an issue a few years ago, but now it's a case of, unless there's something on that distracts him, like the television or music or us all chatting to him, he can get a bit whingy and whiny about it. But it is, I think it's so interesting having I've been a dog owner for a long time. I've never had a reactive dog. I've had an anxious dog. The collie was quite anxious, but as long as Mum was around, she was fine. But a reactive dog it's a different ball game, isn't it? And
it really is. And it's so silly things like, we'll get to work, we open the tailgate, and they're both got the harnesses on, so they can't get out. And Athena, if somebody walks down the estate, will go, oh, there's a person. Wonder if they have any food on them. And will vaguely look at them. If Nick sees them, she will have a meltdown. And the first time she had what we call a severe panic attack, where she literally was shaking on the floor, couldn't walk, was because a spider walked out from underneath the door jamb.
Oh my goodness.
I was on the phone to the vets thinking she was having an epileptic fit, and it was a wolf. It was a big spider, to be fair, but anyway, I could talk dogs all day, but finally, Seleena, what's the best advice you've ever received?
I tried really hard to think about this one, because I surround myself with people that I find inspiring. My business friends and my friends are people that lift me up and people that make me want to raise my game. And, I often have chats and I often have, time with people. And I think the best advice is from someone who I'm not particularly close to, but who's really made me think this year, who said to me, being selfish is absolutely fine as a business owner, Seleena. And he's really on a mission to sort of kind of really push the selfish theme for leaders. And when he said it to me just one-on-one, it's like he was looking in my soul and going, start looking after yourself. So that word selfish doesn't really feature in my list. I'm not a selfish person in any quarter of my life at all. But I've started to really embrace that. Well, actually, it's okay if I want to spend all morning sitting on the settee on a Saturday morning with my head in a book. That's fine. So I've really started to embrace that. And probably not the best advice, but it's the advice that's had a really good impact on me.
I think that advice is great, particularly for people who have spent years giving, perhaps over giving. It's very easy for people to, in both personal and professional lives, to rely on you. I don't want to use the phrase take for granted because I don't mean that, but to take you for granted, even if it's in a nice way.
Yeah, that's true.
And every now and again, I think we need to remember that no is a complete sentence.
Yeah. And it's that power of no for me has been, whilst I say I'm quite feisty, I am. I'm always brutally honest, but hopefully in a kind way. But that no is sometimes something that I forget about. And this year, no has been an answer that people probably didn't really want to hear, but they've had.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to. And I think we need to just say, no, I don't want to do that. I was asked to do something, one of my roles, one of my ambassador roles, and they were like, do you want to do that? And I went, no. And they went, no, you'll enjoy it. I went, no, I won't. I'm not doing that, no.
Yeah.
I'll do something else, but I'm not doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Seleena,
I don't own that, but yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Sorry to cut you off, but we are over time again.
It's good to talk to you.
And it was lovely to hear from you. And I wish you and Craig all the best as you move into your evolution with Apexis Engineering.
Thank you very much.